those things are turnoffs to me. And so it would be like, in that moment, I'd be like, well, I feel like I just degraded myself, like went back 2 steps and.
Did you know that she felt like those things were turnoffs?
Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book. You know what time it is. Talking to you guys about Brett and Olivia, and we're talking about their finale as well. And we're going to talk about some real stuff here about their fears and how that continued to be a big part in reason why they could not marry as well. Guys, please do make sure you like, share, subscribe, click on the bell button for notifications, and make sure you click on those bell buttons as well, okay? Yeah, we want to see you come back, you understand? We want you to get the notifications, you understand? For those of you who are returnees, you already know the motto. You got the minerals, you got the minerals. I'm doing too much. All right, cool. Listen, don't forget, so grab your merchandise, you know. Don't leave us alone without grabbing your merchandise. Hey, go below, click on it, grab your hoodie. Support the thing, please. All right, guys, let's talk about Brett and Olivia because it's real right now. All right, cool. So I really believe that Brett and Olivia, yeah, they are the prime example of what happens when you allow fear to lead you in this relationship thing. When you allow fear to consume you, this is the result of what happens, okay? Fear here, number one, was from Olivia. She feared her wings will be clipped, that her money spending and her freedom would be clipped by Brett's need to control because of he felt like if she didn't clip her wings, he would be left behind. She would fly off the ground and leave him behind. So they both had fear. Her fear was that he would clip her wings. His fear was that he would be left behind. And that began to play in the relationship. This is why they actually couldn't go and stay married. It's because neither of them could move from the position of fear into a place of saying, I'm going to move into a place of faith. I'm going to move into a place where I'm going to support you. I'm going to move into a place where I'm going to allow certain things to go. And I'm going to say, hey, I want you. I desire you. But I also need a safe space to be emotionally vulnerable to you. But at the moment, some of the things you do hurt me. So let me go first and present this emotional safe space. So let's pay attention because I want to really get some things in deep, okay?
Husband. I think she was more committed to the idea of having a husband than having me as a husband. And that's not a great feeling. Just feeling that you're, generic.
Brett was feeling like Olivia was being generic with the idea that she just wanted a husband but not him. Well, first of all, the show is to come and find a husband. I mean, she wasn't looking for you specifically, but it is a show to find a husband or a wife, right? But I understand what Brett's saying here right now. What he's saying is she likes the idea of marriage. She likes the idea of a husband, but I don't know how much he's really in love with the idea of actually meeting me. Brett's issue here is the fear. The fear is coming right here. The fear of Brett is that he will be rejected. Whatever happened with the cheating finished him. I'm telling you, and probably even before the cheating, it was something that happened in his youth because the sarcasm has been with him for a very, very, very long time. And in fact, the friend from the last show really read his script when he said to him, when he basically explained that he's had to tell Brett about himself, right? Which is probably why Brett's still around him, because probably that's the only guy that's true enough to tell him. But I felt Brett's fear here, which is that he didn't want to become the idea. He wanted to be desired and wanted. And we know this because earlier on in the episodes, he spoke about the fact that she lacked a desire for him, right? And I'm telling you, this is about to get wild in this episode, because when I break some stuff down, it's about to get wild. I have problems with both Olivia and Brett. Both of them are rude. Both of them are rude. Okay, in their own rights. I don't think any of them can say that they are more contributing or less contributing. I don't like Brett's sarcasm. Okay, I really don't. But I also don't like Olivia's tone. I don't like the way she deals with things. I don't like her lack of affection. You understand? I don't like the way she went at him today. Whoo, babe.
I'm not gonna lie, like there were times where I looked at you and I'm like, you were great 5 minutes ago, and then
And so for me, I felt like Brett jumped the relationship early because he was trying to get ahead of her rejection. I won't allow you to reject me. That's too much power for you. No, I'll reject myself. That way I keep the power. That way I keep the control. That's self-sabotage, basically. And so many people are in this place where they've been rejected in the past and hurt in the past. And so before they get rejected again, and I go through the situation once more, no. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I reject me first so you can't reject me. That way I cushion my landing. If I've rejected myself, whatever you say to me, you can't say nothing. It's almost the equivalent. The equivalent is this. No, you can't fire me. I'm resigning. Whichever one it is, you're going to leave the business, right? But if you fire me, it means you have the power to cancel me. But if I say to you, no, I'm resigning, I took the power back, right? And same thing with Brett and Olivia here. He rejected himself before she could reject. Before he felt like she would reject him. But the truth of the matter is, he moved out the home, and went about his business and semi-lied about the fact that why he moved. Was it the cats? Was it anything else? Bro, let's be honest. You moved out because you were trying not to be rejected. That's the truth. The text that he was sending, it was interesting because it asked about who was sending text first. What I find interesting was the fact that Brett didn't want to own who initiated the
Any contact during that time?
Few texts here and there, but not really.
What kind of text? And who initiates any contact?
contact first. Like, for me, that doesn't make sense. Why would you not want to own that straight away? Like, say, hey, yeah, I've been the one that's contacting. Because Olivia was like, I'm not going to say it because I have not been contacting you. You've been contacting me. And let me tell you something about Brett and why he was contacting her. The reason why Brett was contacting her, okay, from where he was, is a place of safety. When he goes back to his house and he texts her, if she rejects him, it's nothing. It's not a big thing. I didn't want you anyway, right? If I'm in a marriage and you reject me there, I've been fully rejected. I'm going to get hurt. But if I text you from my house where you think it's pretty much over and you said it's pretty much over, or you felt like I was leaving you, then it's a place of safety. Like, if you say no, it's like, yeah, I know, it was already done, so it doesn't make a difference to me. So yes, I can tweet, I can say to you, hey, honey bun, buy honey buns. I can say all those things to you because I'm not in a place of discomfort. I'm in my comfort zone and I can do whatever I want in that zone. If you say no, it's not a biggie. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why he was texting her, because it was like it's safety. You know what I mean? What's the worst you can do? Reject the text? Yeah, but fam, I didn't want you anyway. Like, you can say that. But when you're in a marriage and you say that, it's like, no, but you were in a marriage. Why would you stay in a marriage if you think, you know what I mean? Like, if someone was going to reject you, why would you stay in a marriage? You'd walk away, right? So it's like, that's the difference here.
Why did you initiate that contact?
Because I wanted to see what Olivia was up to.
You know, I felt like at the point when they were asking the question about who initiates contact, you see, he looks at her and then she's kind of rubbing her wrists. She's not comfortable at the moment. And then Olivia said, obviously, later on, after he's admitted it was him, that the texts make her feel indifferent and not special. She's over it. Basically, she said, I'm over it. Brett, I'm over you. I'm over this situation. I'm over your damn text. I'm over everything. Bye-bye.
Does it make me feel special?
How does it make you feel?
Indifferent, I guess.
Olivia was indifferent to his text and felt like she wasn't feeling special. And so what was really difficult about the scenario is the fact that, like I said, Olivia's over it. What was interesting for me was Brett's kind of reaction to that. Brett was very happy to see her, he said. And Olivia smiled, like she was like, I don't believe you're rubbish. And I can understand that, because it's like, you say you can. I remember I said this to you guys. Throughout the whole season, man's been making long, sweeping statements. But bro, your behavior in the relationship is not showing me that you actually care. All this sarcasm and all this madness malarkey has been something that's not been attractive, right? It's been something that's been dissuading and repelling. And so you saying, obviously, I'm happy to see Olivia. I'm sure you are. And what I feel like, when someone breaks up with you and then they're like, yeah, like they're comfortable and I want to be your friend. You lie. You're just comfortable. Let me grieve. Let me be in my position to get over the relationship. That's why he said, I think I can't remember it was at the end or the beginning, where he said, I don't think Olivia's really over it. You know what I mean? Bro, why are you trying to take ego from the fact she's not over it? That sounds like, for me, you're trying to get an ego boost. Yeah? And for me, again, the jerkometer is rising with Brett. That's the parts that I don't like about Brett. I think that's jerkish, bro. That's why you said obviously it's nice when someone you can sit behind your computer screen and swipe and reject people. That's just jerkish, bro. How can you even think like that, bro? But that lets me know a little bit into your mind about how you feel about yourself and about how you're trying to claim power. The good body can't hide the mind. The good body cannot hide the mind. The mind has not yet caught up with the good body yet. There's still the same thought process you were beforehand. Okay, and so to say you see what you want to, you're happy to see Olivia. Yeah, me too. I'm like her. I'm like, yeah, if you say so. And you know that's why she felt like the hey hon and the bye babe seems like it wasn't legit. And the text hey cute wifey, bro, like you're tweeting from a place of comfortability because you don't want to actually engage.
I think right now, where we are today, like the hey hun, bye babe, like that doesn't mean anything to me. And so like saying hey hun, like I've been here for weeks.
Properly, because that would mean then addressing your fears in the actual relationship that you have with Olivia. So I don't think Brett is lying about how he feels about her, but I definitely believe that he's been very protective, and that's come out in the sarcasm and that's come out in some of the tone. What's interesting is about Brett's behavior is in this particular episode at the beginning, you know what? The sarcasm didn't come out until I think later on, but you know, this guy was proper trying hard not to be sarcastic. Proper trying hard not to be sarcastic in this particular episode. But bro, you couldn't stop doing what you've been doing for a very long time. But that for me showed me like I felt like, you know, the sarcasm, we know it's a defense mechanism, but the fact is here I felt like he was intentionally trying to hold back the sarcasm. You know, we always knew it was there. It was always going to come up, and eventually it did. But it's like, bro, at the very beginning, I felt like he was just trying to intentionally hold it back.
Don't you think it'd be a lot easier to get to know me if you did want to hang out with me?
I'm like, Brett, this should have been done in your relationship. This should have been done in your relationship. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like this should have been done in your marriage. This should have been discussed with Pastor Cal and Dr. Pepper and Dr. Viviana. You should have called them up. Said, we're struggling to communicate here. But you didn't. You ran away with your cats, bro. Made an excuse that your cats are getting scratched, so you're going back home and that's it permanently. And unfortunately, bro, that excuse can't wash. You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be easier to know me if you wanted to hang out with me? Now, don't get it twisted. I've been in a relationship where I felt like the person wasn't really understanding my love language, which was quality time. But I was also unable with the resources at the time to communicate that to the person that I struck. To be able to communicate with comprehension that, hey, look, right now you're not supplying what I need. Yeah. When I broke up with the person and then we were to get back to the person, I had the vocabulary to express that. And the person said what Karen said, I've got what you need. I got what you want. I got what you need. But the person didn't have what I need. They couldn't do it because it's something that it's not in your nature to do. So, you know, maybe as well, and I have to take into account what Brett is saying here, because later on this becomes an issue when he says at the very end about how, you know, about asking the right questions. And
That's the most I think I've ever heard you express yourself.
Oh, you know?
You gotta ask questions.
Oh, okay. I ask lots of questions.
he says, obviously, Olivia says, I asked plenty of questions. He goes, well, you didn't ask the right one. So maybe that he felt like maybe there was deeper conversations that Olivia wasn't going to, and she was asking surface questions. Maybe, I don't know. And so, you know, Olivia, I can tell Olivia was feeling angry and hurt. She felt rejected, but she stayed. Because she stayed and he left her, it was a sense of robbery because the power's been taken from you. You've been fired, not resigned. And two, also as well, she felt angry because it's like, bro, like you don't own up to what you're moving mad to. So it frustrates her, right? You know, he said, Olivia again smiled when he said, I wanted to get married and have a wife. Again, she was smiling to say basically she doesn't believe him in that respect. But then obviously, Olivia, one thing about Olivia is that when Pastor Carl was explaining something, she actually cut him off. You know, and I don't know, I think like she cut them off because maybe she felt like, you know, the experts were, I feel like unduly hard on Olivia. I felt like they were a little bit one-sided. Like, I get it. Brett was done dirty as well because Olivia was unaffording with her affection, unaffording with giving herself over to Brett, I'll be honest with you. And she was quite rude as well sometimes. So I can understand that. But there's a two-way streak. It was a vicious cycle that both of them were a part of. So I didn't see it as one side. I saw it as like both of us, bro. We need to sort ourselves out. Do you get what I'm saying? Like I felt like both of us needed to put ourselves in check here, cuz you get me.
I guess I never felt safe. I just never felt like it was any point in the relationship where I could just.
This is where we're coming to. In relationship, what's really difficult is, especially as a man, is to give yourself and be vulnerable to your partner. Because what you're saying is, you are going to have the option to kill me. I'm going to rest my head on your lap like Samson did Delilah, and you have the option, as I give you my weakness, to cut off my dreads. And a lot of men don't want to be in a position like Samson to allow a woman to be in a place where she knows his weakness to cut off his dreads, because they're scared she will actually cut off his dreads. And so what you see from Brett here is that I'm not going to allow you to know the secret of my strength. I will keep myself to myself, and I won't be vulnerable with you. And so because you didn't become vulnerable, I couldn't feel safe, and then I couldn't give you what you needed. Truth of the matter is, they both were in a cyclical. There was a cyclical cycle. It was round and round and round and round. It's a hamster wheel. Where the beginning was and where the end was, it's the same thing. And then this is where they start to have a real conversation. She's like, I felt like he wasn't interested in her as a person, and she felt that because the way that he was coming was always probably coming for her, the money situation, how she spends her cash, the way she's so frivolous, and so actually there was a lack of actually trying to get to understand this person. It was just like my way or the highway. You're wrong, I'm right. And I felt like that's probably what was concerning Olivia in that respect, that she felt like he wasn't trying to get to know her. So both people felt like they weren't getting to know of. And I think Pascal put it quite rightly. There were two ships and they went right past each other, because neither of them were willing to give up their pride to do this. Neither of them were willing to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, do you know what? I'm not going to follow you in this route. I'm going to say, listen, I'm here. I'm going to stand here and I'm going to be vulnerable to you and say, hey, look, I want to make this work. We're missing each other. And so this is where Olivia says her thing, and I think, I said, Chile. I said, oh my gosh, Chile, Chile, Chile. My girl said, listen, I could have considered intimacy with you.
I think there were moments where I was attracted to you and we would cuddle, and that was kind of it.
Why was that kind of it?
Because there would be moments where it would be
when I was attracted to you. First off, hold up. Wait a minute. My girl said, listen, I could have considered intimacy with you when I was attracted to you. When means I'm already done, I'm over it, and I ain't going back. Okay? I don't feel that way no more. When, not, I mean, oh man. My girl says past tense, she said, obviously, basically that, that, oh my days. Basically she was just saying, basically, that it's the 5 minutes. Basically, it's 5 minutes. Basically, you basically you ruined it after 5 minutes. Basically, yeah. You at a point in time had me. You know what I'm saying? I was in your claws. I was in your reach. I was in your grasp. But because of your nature, because of your sarcasm, that drew me away from you, and I didn't want to be intimate with you anymore, right? And had he known this, maybe he might have addressed it. But because she didn't communicate it either, because...
Did you know that she felt like those things were turn-offs?
No. It's almost like these two...
Her fear, he didn't know that either. And so therefore they were what? Now in a situation where they're not married, right? And so Brett complains and says she never expressed that, right?
You need compliments all the time, and you need like physical touch all the time.
Not all the time, ever.
No, I'm saying that's what you need. I'm not saying I provided that.
And again, that's the problem there. That's the exact problem of fear. When you fear, your listening becomes different. When you fear, you hear things differently, because your ears are hearing a different set of words due to the fact your filter is of fear. And so when he snapped, Olivia was like, well, no. Like I was basically saying to you that it's what you needed. That's what I was saying to you. Right? And now you look like a fool. Why? Because you reacted on your fear and heard what you thought you heard, rather than actually listening to actually deep what she said. You listened to respond, right? And that's the reason why it didn't work out. And so that's when she made a point about you were great. And then 5 minutes later, you basically ruined it. You know what I mean? Your sarcasm and your vanity.
You were great 5 minutes ago. And then if it's something you said that was super sarcastic or just watching you check yourself out in the mirror all the time, like those things are turnoffs to me.
I feel like I understand her position. I want to just end on this last comment because I feel like this comment was rude, and I mean rude. And I felt like that's why I said to you that I can understand what Brett is saying about her rudeness as well. You can't expect me to be open in safe spaces when you're hella rude. You know what I mean? I'm expecting you to be rude about when I be vulnerable. You're gonna be rude about my point. Like, nah.
It would be like in that moment, I'd be like, well, I feel like I just degraded myself. Like, went back 2 steps and.
Excuse me.
It would be like in that moment, I'd be like, well, I feel like I just degraded myself. Like, went back 2 steps.
Who do you think you're talking to? What? You're gonna tell me that you felt degraded, and you went back 2 steps just because I was sarcastic and a bit of vanity? Nah, come on, sis. Come on. I mean, I think at that point she's trying to hurt him. I think at that point she's trying to score some points. I felt at that point she's trying to just trying to hit him, because she had never communicated this before, and he's gonna come out and bang him with 2 shots like that. I wasn't with it. I really believe that you should communicate certain things, and again, communication is the ultimate thing, but comprehension is better. But I felt like the fear crippled them both to be able to speak. And it crippled them to be able to understand one another. So unfortunately, she didn't. She wasn't wanting any further communication with Brett. And had they been able to look past their fears, they could have made it work. But unfortunately, c'est la vie, we're here. You know what I mean? So, guys, we'll do a part 2 of this where we talk about the rest of what was mentioned in their particular scene. But yeah, guys, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, and you click on that bell button for a notification of the uploads, baby. We appreciate you. Stay locked, stay loaded.